we even going here? Okay, we're going here. Man, having so many struggles. So let's see. I already spent 8 minutes talking with no audio. I'm very hopeful that there's audio this time. And if not, I'm deleting this video and I'm deleting my Facebook account and I'm never showing up again. So let me know if you can't hear me. If you are listening to this and you cannot hear my voice, thank you, Nick, first of all, for sharing that. If you can't hear my voice, tell me. We just had an offer in on a house, which is very exciting for us. And the sellers decided, great, I got a thumbs up. I think you can hear me. The sellers decided to go with some other people that have more money than us, which is lame. So why don't I get on Facebook? Okay, that's great. Thank you. Why don't I get on Facebook? And Alexandra, I have zero chance of saying your name correctly, so I'm not going to try. But Alexandra posted a really good comment that I felt inspired to speak to, because I think a lot of people, hey, Adam, good to see you, man. I think a lot of people struggle with this. And I'm going to try to summarize as best I can, which is she has a client who is frantic, overworked, stressed out, and wanted to streamline her way of working so she could get a job done easier and still be left with energy to invest in creating her startup business. Already had a pre-enrollment call with her, and now she's a client. First of all, way to go, Alexandra. Like, that's really awesome that you just that you've created this. That's really remarkable that your client's seen present to that possibility. And then, of course, what's happened is your clients come into the coaching, is excited, and then immediately comes up to our first wall. So the fact that your client has resistance is not a problem. That's actually exactly what should be happening. People often think, oh, I'm going to hire my coach and then I'm going to show up as this perfect, transformed, shiny human being, or my coach will kick me in the head until I do, which is not how it goes. The way it goes is they show up in the coaching as the exact same human being they've always been. So it's really good that she's got resistance. The resistance that you're experiencing is exactly what's stopping her from having energy to focus on her other business. It's exactly the thing in the way of what she wants. Adam just mentioned down here that he's in Hawaii. How dare you, sir? It's rainy and cold here. Shameful. Okay, so let's get to this actual content. So I'm going to call you Alex because that's less syllables for me and less likely that I'll get it wrong. And Alex, the first thing, I'm going to speak for you first as the coach, because that's what good coaching is we always look on our side of the tracks first, and then we'll speak to your client. So what I'm really struck by in what you said here is, here it is. How do I honor her boundaries while at the same time ultimately inviting her to this new mindful way of being that I know will help her serve her goals? And I think you actually said, I know for a fact that they're actually how we rebalance our energy and get to be more efficient in a healthier way. So Alex, that's your agenda. And you can tell it just by the way you've spoken, the way you're holding it is like, this is the way. And I would say you're probably right in as much as it's a way. There's almost no doubt in my mind that if your client started to breathe more deeply, to spend even 3 minutes a day just sitting and not doing anything, that it would create a benefit for her, that she would start to have more energy, to start to be more present. But that's your agenda. That's a way, it's not the way. And as soon as we as coaches are fixated on the way for our client to move forward, now we're pushing our agenda onto the client. And I don't know about you, but when someone is telling me what I should do or is trying to push something at me, my natural reaction sounds a little bit like, screw you, except that's much nicer than the way it actually sounds. It's much less pleasant than that. We naturally push back. When we feel pushed, we push. It's Newton's second law, equal and opposite. It's pretty cool that I referenced Newton's second law there. So for you, first and foremost, is to really do whatever you need to do to let go of that being the way for your client to move forward, so that you can just hold the space for whatever there is for her to move forward and to bring a little bit more curiosity rather than trying to get her somewhere. You don't need to get her somewhere. It's not your job. Some ways you might do that are for you to actually go out into the world and look for other ways to create more energy, other ways to actually slow down or create a deeper sense of presence or a deeper sense of connection that aren't breathing, so that you can see, oh yeah, there are a myriad of ways available. It doesn't have to be this way. There's just one way to do it. You could really just take a look and see how, like, look at all the places where that's kind of your automatic go-to, like, oh, struggling, go to breathing. Maybe that's kind of like your version of the hammer, that you go looking for the nail. Okay, this is how I solve it. I do breathing. You can also, this is just a great thing to bring to your coach. Like, hey, it feels like I'm kind of like, this is always the way that I move, that I want to push things forward. Or some jerk in this group I'm a part of called me out and said that maybe this is a bit of an agenda I have. Can we do some work on that? That's also a great way to do work on this area. So that's what I would give for you, first of all, is for you to resolve this, because as long as you are holding it like this is the correct way for your client to show up, to address, to solve their problem, even if you're not saying anything, they're going to feel it energetically. That's gonna come across in your being. Doesn't matter what you do on the surface, your being about it is going to convey to your client. And they won't have the skill or the facility to be able to distinguish that. They'll just feel it on some level and naturally push back against it. So once you've done your work and can let go of that, then you can start to relate to this like a real gift. Like, wow, there's sort of what I'm providing this client is an opportunity to actually just sit still for just like but a fraction of an instant, just to slow down. And they got a lot of resistance to that. Well, that would make a ton of sense to me. Like, it would make sense that if you have someone who's saying, you know, I have no energy, I feel frantic, I'm overworked and stressed out, or maybe they're not even aware that that's how they're showing up, but you're present to it regardless. If you have someone showing up like that and they have resistance to a practice that would have them slow down, that makes a lot of sense, right? And so what I would want to do as coach is really kind of hold that resistance with reverence, almost like, wow, it makes so much sense that you have this resistance. Let's look at that, because I'm willing to bet you created that for a reason. Tell me about that. I would want to just get like, I want to get so deep into their brain that I'm kind of like, hell yeah, it makes a lot of sense that you'd have resistance. I'm on board with that. Like, I would have resistance if that was kind of the same belief and thoughts and patterns and everything, that I would be there with you. This is what I call getting the client. You're not trying to move them anywhere at this point. You're not even trying to coach them. You're really just trying to get their world to really to fully understand it and for it to make sense to you. And sometimes if you just really get someone, your job's done. You don't even have to do anything more. Sometimes all people need is just for us to get them more deeply than anyone else in their life is willing to do. And frankly, that's one of the gifts that coaches and counselors really provide, is we get people deeply. So I'd be curious about that. And I would also, I saw she said, you know, she had a very uncomfortable hypnosis session back in the days. Hashtag back in the days. It's always back in the days, right? I was struck by that when I read that, because I saw, wow, one uncomfortable hypnosis session, and I'd be curious about what happened, but like, if we don't even worry about the content of that and just look at it, one uncomfortable hypnosis session now dictates everything in the future. It dictates every yoga class where there's a breathing exercise. It dictates how she feels when there's any group coaching, maybe a salon that she's a part of, any conversation with a coach such as yourself. Like, that's a massive impact for this one hypnosis session. So two things show up for me there. First, I wonder, is it really just that one hypnosis session, or is there something deeper at play here? And two, if it is, well, let's really dive into that, because if we could move that out of the way, boy, that's going to free up a ton of stuff. Like, even if breathing will never be your favorite thing in the world to put attention, focus, and practice towards, just clearing up your resistance to it is going to have a massive impact in your life. So that's one of the things I would do. And finally, I think I would really, putting attention on breath and slowing down is a really beautiful, that's what it is. It's slowing down, right? We're really inviting someone to just slow down and be in the moment, which is kind of what I see your client wants. I would check this out. Like, what would it look like for you if you had the energy you wanted and we were able to create this and streamline your way of working and your job was done more easily? How would that be? And maybe she doesn't want to go slower. Maybe she wants to go faster. Maybe she wants to cram more stuff in. I would dig into that. Like, what for? What are you cramming more in? Is it so eventually you can finally rest? Which you can see the irony, right? If she's unwilling to rest now, well, then it doesn't matter how much stuff she's going to get done. She's never going to be willing to visit this, right? If she's resistant now, she'll be resistant later, guaranteed. So you might look at it from that lens, or you might just really, without kind of making it wrong, just like, hey, it seems like you don't want to slow down. So what do you want to do? Like, what do you feel would really support you? And kind of exploring that. And really, we want to do this like an improv class. We provide something to our client. There's nothing wrong with the fact that you provided a breath practice. But as soon as your client says, that's not what I want to do, our job is to yes and that. Like, oh, got it. Okay, great. So what do you want to do? It feels like you don't really want to slow down. What do you feel really would support you? Where do you want to go with this? So the first thing for all of this is we got to be able to let go of our agenda. We have to recognize and then let go of our agenda. Otherwise, our client and we're both screwed. It's going to be so uncomfortable because you're going to be just butting heads with your client. They're so resistant. Why don't they just do what I tell them to do? Because they hired you to coach them. And when we hire someone to coach us, we're not hiring them to tell us what to do. We often think they are, or we think, now I've confused my pronouns. We often think that we're hiring someone to tell us what to do, but then we're going to resist that too. They hired you to really get them and then to coach them and to help them discover their own path. Your client right now might not even have any awareness that this is what she's resisting, might not have any awareness that they want to go faster or slow down or any of this. So I'd really invite you just to not try to fix your client. You know what? You're frantic, you're overworked, blah, blah, blah. I would have you just really explore that with them first. Slow way down, which your client will probably not like because based on what you've shared and what they've said, they want to go faster. And this is kind of one of those places where we need to have our own coach so that we can work our own stuff out and get that, hey, Kendra, good to see you there. We can get that, I don't need to go faster. I'm actually serving the client by exploring with them. And to be clear, like, this isn't my agenda I'm pushing. I'm actually just holding the space for her to do her exploration. And even though she's got this desire to kind of grab a hold of me and force me to tell me what to do, but don't, that'll give you the ability to kind of step back a little bit and just love them, sort of energetically hold this space. I'm trying to get my hand, there we go. Energetically hold the space around them and let them be wherever they are. Finally, anytime you notice that you're in a power dynamic with your client, and the way a power dynamic kind of shows up is where you're trying to get them somewhere or you're trying to provide them with something. Kendra says her client fixes her sometimes. Yeah, I really wish my clients would fix me more often than not and make everything so much easier. So anytime you notice you're trying to provide something and then your client is like this, and what most coaches do in this place is they go, my client's uncoachable, I need to fire them. Or, my client is resistant, what do I do? You're resistant. The problem is not your client. It's that you're providing them something to resist, or you are showing up in such a way that has them be uncoachable. Now, this will not 100% of the time be true. There are people that are uncoachable. But I would say that the vast majority of the time, it's the coach not doing their work. And if the context, the framework, the come from that we bring is the client's resistance is actually something for me to take on, you're going to develop much more powerfully as a coach. I promise you. So please take on, like, start practicing noticing your agenda, not from make wrong, not from I suck, I should have known this, or, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed, but just like, oh crap, I do have a way that I see things work for me. And I do want to provide that people that, and just, oh, that can tend to be my agenda. Notice that. And then really embrace and love and welcome the resistance of your clients. It's a sign that you're doing good work with them. Thanks for doing good work, Alex. And finally, I just want to acknowledge you for really caring, for really wanting to provide your client with value, for wanting to support them. And I do promise you that if you sit and let them just struggle with this themselves, you'll provide value that no one else in their life can provide them. Because I guarantee you, every other person in this woman's life does one of two things. She shows up and is frantic and crazy, oh my God. And they do one of two things. The first one is they go, shit, I don't know how to deal with this, and they leave. Or they try to jump on board and keep up and provide a fix, which she then immediately bats aside and says, that's not going to work. I don't blah, 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 blah. And then she's going to run off. And you're going to be the only person that kind of jogs along with her and says, wow, this is really tiring, isn't it? And they're going to go, yeah, I wish we could slow down. Be like, yeah, do you want to slow down? No, I totally don't want to slow down. Okay, what should we do? Should we just keep jogging? You're going to be the only person in this woman's life that will provide that gift. And it's a ridiculous thing that people pay us for it. And it's just the most beautiful thing in the world. Thanks to everyone that's watching. Great to see you, Kendra. Great to see you, Adam. Alex, amazing question. Keep them coming. Thank you so much. Love y'all. Bye-bye.